Hi everyone and welcome back to my podcast. My name is Beth and I am the dyer at Beehive Yarns, and I haven't podcasted in, I couldn't tell you, 2, maybe even 3 years. So yeah, a lot has changed, a lot has possibly remained the same, I don't know. But I just thought I would try and dive back in. Do excuse me, I'm extremely rusty, and I had a certain amount of pressure from my son, who told me in no uncertain terms that I needed to do a new video this week, so you can blame him. So yeah, I thought I'd drop in. It's not going to be a hugely long video, and just show you a couple of the things I've been making recently. If I did a video on all of the things I've made since my last podcast, then obviously that would be an age. So what I might do is just kind of drop items in as and when they become relevant, because I'm sure I've got things that I'd like to show you or that you might like to see. So I hope you're all well. I hope you are enjoying the spring. If you're in the UK here, it's really nice and sunny today. And if you're elsewhere in the world, then I hope you have some nice weather there too. I'll start by sharing what I'm wearing at the moment, and then move on to a couple of FOs that I've got to share and what I'm currently working on. So a very traditional format, and I'll stick to that today and try to get through. So what I'm wearing first of all is a nice little sort of slightly cropped tee. I won't stand up because I've got wires and stuff all over me, but you can just see that there. This is called the Seashore Stroll tee by a designer called Jennifer Shields, and I knit this a couple of months ago actually, and really enjoyed it. You can see it's got some sort of simple textured patterns there, a textured kind of yoke, and then straight down, and you can obviously do it to whichever length that you want. I really enjoyed this knit. It was super quick. It only took a couple of skeins of yarn. It's a fingering weight or 4-ply weight top, and I used when I say our, that's Beehive Yarns. Yarn called Dusty is the base name. It's a merino cashmere nylon blend, 4-ply yarn, and I use that in the colourways called terracotta. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Like I said, it only took a couple of skeins and it was a really quick knit, so super nice summer tee if that's your bag, which certainly is mine. So I can highly recommend that. I think the pattern came out last year, but it's easy enough to find on Ravelry. I'll post a link and any other kind of relevant info in the description box below on YouTube, and also link you to my Ravelry. Feel free to come and friend me there. I love seeing what people are making. My name tag in Ravelry is Rosemary's Girl, all one word. But if you search for Beehive Yarns, I'm sure you'll find the shop there, and then from there it probably links back to me. But yeah, by all means, come and find me. It's always really exciting to see what other people are working on, and you know, I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, Seashore Stroll. Right, I've got a couple of more FOs to show you. The next one is also a tee, and when I say FO, it's sort of 99% done. The knitting's done and I've blocked them, but you'll see that I haven't woven in the ends, so I'll just scooch back a bit. There we go. So this is another tee, another 4-ply or fingering weight top. So again, lovely for summer or for kind of, I'd guess, transitional weather really. I really like this kind of striking colour work on the top, and as I hold it up to the camera, it looks a little bit like kind of skulls. I don't think that's intentional from the pattern, and I hadn't picked it out when I was working on it, but I think it's just because it's such high contrast. And this is called the Bonfire Tee, and it's by a designer called Samantha Guerin. I've knit a few of her patterns. I really recommend them. Lovely and easy to follow, and just kind of nice classic designs that would suit everyone. So you can see that this is 2 colours. I used Beehive Yarns Bardot base this time, so it's another fingering weight, this time merino nylon. And I used 2 different colours. So the main body colour is called Spring Lilac, and the very dark colour, which is kind of a very dark black / charcoal, also has a bit of a bluish tinge to it, is called Cemetery Gates. And I've been dyeing yarn now. This is our 8th year. It's our 8th shop birthday on the 1st of June this year. And in all that time, Cemetery Gates is the #1 selling colourway, just in case you're interested. So yeah, and I chose these colours. If you look on my Ravelry page, you'll see I chose these colours because they reminded me they were sat on the shelf next to each other, and they reminded me a little bit of Lily Munster, or that kind of slightly gothy vibe. So yeah, another really fab and easy knit. So I definitely would recommend that. If any of you have made either of these tops, I'd also love to see them. So please feel free to kind of tag me or send me a message. It's always nice to see different versions, isn't it? I like wearing tees like these, obviously brilliant for warmer weather, but I also like wearing them with a long sleeve top or a v-neck, not v-neck, polo neck underneath, and you can sort of lay them up that way if you're not so lucky with the weather. Right, and then my next finished object is a long sleeve sweater this time. Now you'll notice, again, I haven't woven the ends in, and also I've kind of got it gripped to the hanger with hair slides because it's got a really large neck. And what I would say is that is not the fault of the pattern, that is how I've knit it. So again, let me sort of move back a little bit. This is the Curse Breaker sweater by Tristan Molina. Also from Dragon Horde Yarn is Tristan's business name. And again, I've knit lots of Tristan's patterns and they're really, really nice. So when she put this on Instagram and was looking for test knitters, I kind of volunteered and put my hand up. So this is a test knit that I did for Tristan. And yeah, in terms of pattern, lovely, and I'm really keen to show you the colour work because that's what drew me to it. And this is quite advanced for my level of colour work, I would say. Like a yoke colour work is more my speed rather than kind of on all over, but it really drew me to it, really drew me in when I saw the her sample, and I wanted to have a go. So I'm really pleased that I did. It was a challenge for me. There are a few rows in the pattern where it's 3 colours worked on the same row, which is a first for me. So it was a challenge, but I'm really, really pleased that I pushed myself and did it. And actually now, since finishing this a couple of weeks ago, I've kind of found myself queuing loads of different colour work items, which in the past I probably would have thought, oh, that's not for me, or it's going to be a little bit too difficult. So it's kind of got my confidence up. Now, there's a couple of reasons I'm not 100% delighted with this, which, as I said, are not the fault of the pattern. It is just down to how I've knit or my personal taste. So number one is, as I mentioned, the neckline. So I've got quite a wide sort of scoop neck there, and I think that is because I knit to gauge and I knit to my size, but I think that's because I didn't knit a deep enough rib to begin with, and then obviously went straight into the neck shaping, and it looks fine on, but it's quite low, and I would personally prefer, especially on colour work, more of a crew neck. So if I was to knit this again, I would certainly knit it with a deeper neck. And having had a look in the test knit, we had like a messenger group, a Facebook group, where we all shared photographs, which is so good. I really recommend that if you're sort of doing a test knit for anybody, having a look at where other people have got up to, and where they've maybe come across a problem and have been able to help with it. So yeah, I've seen lots of other people's test knits as well, and they haven't all got such a deep neckline. So it's fair to say, it's just been how I've done it, and I probably was so anxious, and this happens to me all the time actually, so anxious to get on with the actual body of the sweater that I cut the ribbing down. I didn't do enough ribbing before I got into it, and that's me all over. I'm very impatient. So yeah, if I was doing it again, I would personally change that bit about it. And the second thing I'm not keen on is the yarn. So this was a new base that I was testing potentially to have in the shop. It's a sport weight yarn, can I remember the blend? It's alpaca merino blend. I can't remember the percentages. Sport weight yarn is less common in the UK. I think in the US in particular, I'm not sure about other countries, it is a lot more popular, and we therefore see sort of more, I guess, US Canadian patterns written for sport weight, whereas in the UK it's not as popular. We sort of tend to have DK and 4-ply, so and then the thicker yarns. So I thought, well, I'll test it. I do have a sport weight yarn in the shop called Scylla, which is a BFL nylon sport weight, which is beautiful and it's perfect for colour work, and I could have gone with that, but I thought, no, I'm going to test a new base. And again, nothing wrong with the yarn, nothing wrong with the suppliers, but it's just not for me. It's quite on the thin side for sport weight, and I think that's possibly where some of my problem is in that it's obviously quite drapey, and I maybe didn't get quite the gauge that I needed to, that I would have got with a plumper yarn. And I kind of held it up with our Scylla sport weight and this new alpaca one, and it's certainly a lot thinner, and you get like more meterage in a 100-gram skein. So it's not something that I'm going to be looking to carry in the shop, because I wasn't that keen. I mean, never say never, it could be perfect for the projects, but for this it wasn't. So there, you live and you learn, as they say. So yeah, 7 out of 10 rather than a 10 out of 10 FO for me personally, just in terms of how it came out in the end. So yeah, that's all of the FOs I've got to show you, I think, today. 3 tops, which is super unusual for me. No socks for a change. I have been knitting socks. The last pair I did was for my husband, and they were Arnie and Carlos yarn. I think it's from Regia. They were really nice actually, but they're in the wash at the moment, so I can't show you those. So I do knit with other yarn occasionally, but if you are new to the channel, you possibly need telling that as I am a yarn dyer, I tend to only really make things with my own yarn, in terms of things that I might wear to shows or have on display and things like that. It's not out of any kind of snobbery, I don't think, on my part. But I tend to kind of think, oh, if I'm going to put this effort into making something, then I'm going to do it for a shop sample or for something that I can show, or like with the last jumper I showed you, to test a new yarn base. So you will find that I tend to knit mainly with Beehive yarns, and I'll be explaining, you know, as I go, different bases and things that I've used. But I do use yarn occasionally from other dyers or other hand dyers, and certainly commercial yarn as well. In fact, one of the patterns I've got in my queue or to knit list is an Aran weight, and again, I have dyed Aran weight and have that in the shop occasionally, but I've got my eye on some commercial yarn for that, so maybe in the next episode I'll get round to maybe I'll have cast that on and I can share that with you. So yeah, it's not that I exclusively want to just do Beehive or hand-dyed yarn, but that tends to be what I pick up, so that's probably best to explain what you can expect from me going forward. Right, so WIPs, or works in progress. Let me see what I've got to show you. I always have at least one blanket on the needles or hook, so at any given point either crocheting or knit at least one blanket. At the moment I think I've got three on the needles. One's a crochet blanket that I actually showed me starting when I last podcasted, so again, that's several years in the works. I am considerably more through it, but I won't share it today. I'll wait until I've got a bit more progress or until it's finished. But that's a simple granny stripe crochet blanket in DK, which I just sort of pick up as, you know, as I finish other projects really. And then what's the other blanket I've got? Yeah, I've got a crochet blanket, which is sort of in squares. I think it's called the Yorkshire blanket. And so I'll show that once I've got to the point where I'm sort of stitching them together. Have shared it on Instagram, social media before. And then this is one that is almost finished. So I thought, well, why not show you that one, because there's a lot more of it to show. And this is the Sweet Shop blanket. Let me just get it the right way around for you. As you can see, I'm almost there with this one. It's very large. hopefully you can get an idea of it. There's my needles poking at the end. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, 7 blocks in a row. I think it's 7. I've done 7 by 7 square. So 7 blocks in a row, and I've done 3 on this row, so I've got 4 more left to do until I finish it. And I'll be super happy when it's finished, because I just can't wait to use it. I really, really like it. You can see there, look, I think it's showing up possibly more on the camera than it does in real life, but I ran out of that colour. So I had to kind of just pick a random scrap out of my scrap box to finish it off. But I don't care, because this is for me. It's not a gift. It doesn't have to be perfect. So yeah, hopefully get a good view of all the different colours there. So as I said, it's called the Sweet Shop Blanket. It's a pattern by Laura Penrose. I think that a lot of people have maybe started knitting this or have knit this. It came out not this Christmas, the Christmas before, or around that time anyway, because I used an advent for mine, and I know a lot of people did. So I think she kind of released it maybe to coincide with that. It's a really good use of mini skeins. So yeah, you've maybe knit this yourself, or you've seen other people that have made it. It's a garter, all in garter stitch, and you knit a square at a time, and join as you go, which is just amazing, because I absolutely hate joining things and seaming things. I absolutely suck at it. And if I ever knit a flat garment that needs seaming, I always give it to my mum to sew up. That's what they're for though, isn't it? So yeah, you pick up the stitches on the next square as you go. So I could not recommend this more. It's so well explained in the pattern. It's very simple but very effective. So it's easier than it looks, I think. And it's a brilliant way to use up mini skeins or advent sets. In fact, as I said, I think it was possibly written for advent. So I've done 49 squares, and I've used 25 mini skeins. Did I use DK? No, I used 4-ply held double. So from each 20-gram mini skein did 2 squares, but as you can see, I ran out on maybe 1 or 2 of them. So I don't know whether that was a gauge thing, because I've been working on this for like over a year now, intermittently. I've picked it up and put it down, and you'll know yourself that sometimes your gauge kind of is a bit different. So yeah, I would sort of say, and I believe the pattern recommends this, weigh your yarn as you go, so that you're going to have enough. If you are intending, like I did, to split a mini skein and do 2 squares of each, make sure that you kind of split them in half first, so that you're going to have enough. So yeah, so I guess it's a DK weight pattern, but you can also use fingering held double, which is what I did. And then I just used a contrast colour, which is called Crema. It's obviously cream colour, for alternate, the other half of the square, or the alternate triangles. And you don't have to do that, you can just do them all different colours if you want. I've seen lots of lovely ones out there. The yarn I used, as I said, was an advent. So this was our Beehive Yarns advent from 23. So not this year, just gone, but the year before that. And it's called, it was the Patisserie advent. And it was sort of all based around cakes and biscuits and extravagance and, all those kind of things. So yeah, not colourways that I tend to dye, or haven't dyed really since then. But 1 or 2 of them have possibly made a comeback at various points. But it's all sort of sweetie colours, pinks and cakey colours and things like that. So yeah, another highly recommend pattern, and one that I like to have on standby. So in between tops and colour work projects and things that may be a little bit trickier for me, I always have a blanket to go to. So yeah, I'll pop that back down there. And next whip, I've just got the one more. So let me show you this one, and this is an oldie but a goodie. So, you know, no brand new patterns here to get today, apart from Curse Breaker, which I showed you earlier, this one. I should mention this is a brand new pattern from Dragon Horde Yarns, literally just released I think last week, and therefore, yeah, you can go, it's all over sort of Instagram, things like that, if you want to go and have a look at pictures, and if you're interested in knitting that one. Whereas this one is very much an oldie but a goodie. So I have finally cast on a Vertices Unite shawl by Stephen West. So I'm going to guess that if you are watching this and you are a knitter, you've possibly already knit at least one of these, or you might have it in your queue. I'm certain you'll be familiar with it. If not, go and have a look at it. Stephen West, obviously, super famous designer, done lots and lots of shawls, and I think Vertices Unite was one of his knit-along shawls from like several years ago now. And it's just kind of geometric shaped triangles added together. So I'm actually only on the very first, the base, I guess you could call it the base triangle at the beginning. Is it a triangle, Beth? No, it isn't. I'm not very good at shapes and maths and things, but so you know what I mean. So yeah, it's kind of two colours striped here. And I've very nearly finished it, so that's the end there. This pattern's been in my queue for years and years and years, and I don't know, it's one of those things I've just got not round to making. But then I had some sort of skeins left from custom dyes and things like that, like some odd skeins left, and also some leftovers from other projects. So this is a leftover from the lilac and black top I showed you earlier, Cemetery Gates. So I kind of had this sort of stash of neutrals coming together, so I thought, oh, they would look quite nice. So I've got Crema, which is sparkly. I don't wear a lot of sparkly yarn, but I think sparkly items, or items made from sparkly yarn, but I think for sort of shawls and things it's really lovely, and it's also super soft. So that's got sort of gold glitter in, but not very much, it's just very subtle. So Crema, Caramel Latte, Cemetery Gates, Mink, and then the other one I'm using at the moment, which is actually quite similar. It's not a huge amount of contrast to the Caramel Latte, but you can see it there. And I've forgotten what I called this. I did give it a name on Ravelry, but it was basically, it was from our Advent box this year, Bookish Advent. It was one of the tonal colourways, which I really liked. So it's like a bit of a caramel colour, showing up a little bit yellow on the screen there. But yeah, I thought just together they all looked kind of nice, super chill, and would look nice together, you know, as a really wearable scarf or shawl that I can wear with like different coats and things like that. And it's huge. So this comes in two sizes, the pattern. You can do a small one or you can do the large one. I thought, when I sort of like looked at the dimensions of it, I thought the small one looked a little bit too small for what I wanted it. So I've gone with the large one, which is gigantic. So it's going to take me a while. It's taken me, I want to say, maybe a week and a half to get that far. So basically just doing that first base shape. So maybe a month I should have it done, I don't know. But hopefully for the next time I podcast, I'll have some progress to show you. But it's like the epitome of mindless knitting. It's just garter stitch right the way through. I'm pretty sure that all of the sections are garter stitch. Obviously that one's got some stripe. I don't think there's any other sort of texture going on. I'm guessing you could add it in if you wanted to do like a section in moss stitch or something. That might look quite nice. Or put some yarn overs in. So yeah, I might do that, but I'm not sure. I really like the kind of simplicity of it, and it's perfect TV knitting. We are watching a German TV show at the moment called Der Pass, which is brilliant. It's completely up my alley. I absolutely love German TV shows, and I love sort of Scandi, actually German Austrian. It's set on the border, but I also love sort of Scandi crime thrillers and things like that. So it's set in a real sort of snowy environment, and yeah, it's really good. And it's subtitled. I know a little bit of German, but not enough to follow a crime TV show, sadly. But it's quite good. Sort of makes me think that I'm learning, but I don't think I really am. But yeah, so it's mindful enough knitting that I can do that whilst reading the subtitles. So yeah, so that's good. That's how I kind of choose my knitting project. Is do I need to A, concentrate on what I'm watching, or B, actually read the subtitles? And if it's a reading one, then it has to be a vanilla sock or a garter stitch project, basically. So yeah, many mistakes have been made in the past by being a bit too excessive in what I've chosen. So yeah, that's my current TV knits. So just consulting my list, that is the only sort of whip that I have left to show you. I do have odd bits on the go, like I mentioned, other blankets and things like that. I won't bring them all out today because I don't want this to be a marathon. So what I thought I would do next is share a little bit in terms of what I've been working on for Beehive yarns and something that we've got new coming to the shop. In the future episodes, if I stick with it, I hope I do, in future episodes, then what I'll probably plan to do, because I don't have like a stack acquisition as such, to do a stash section, because I don't buy a lot of yarn. I'll sometimes talk about any new collection or things that we have come into the shop, but also I thought I might do things that I've bought from other makers. So for example, I've just ordered some prints from an illustrator, and I absolutely can't wait to receive those. I have a feeling they're due to be delivered today, so hopefully in the next podcast I can share those with you. And things like, you know, handmade, I get a lot of candles and things like that, so I thought I would share things like that with you, just in terms of other local makers, because I really enjoy sort of buying from other local you know, artists and makers. So hopefully that would be something of interest to you. So yeah, that print will come next time. I've also ordered, so those of you who have seen my previous podcast, you will remember this pink zodiac wheel of the year behind me, which is from 2021, and it's been there since 2021. I have actually got the 2025 one. So hopefully by the next one I will actually have framed the new one, so you know, it doesn't feel like, I mean, it's so pretty and I love pink, but I feel like I should move on and get the latest one. So yeah, so in terms of the next section, it's all going to be about what we've got going on at Beehive Yarns. That may be of interest to some of you, it may not be of interest to others, so by all means feel free to skip this bit if you don't want to watch it, and I will see you soon. But for those who want to stay, I'll start by talking a little bit about our club that we have on at the moment. So our yarn club is called Season Spell. It's a monthly mystery yarn club, in the sense that I will share each month an image that the colourway that month will be inspired by, but you won't actually see the yarn until it obviously arrives. So I can't share April. I'm literally in the middle of packing it. It's kind of halfway around me on the floor. Some of them have gone out today, others will go out tomorrow. So yeah, I won't share and spoil the April yarn, which is scattered around the room, but I will show the previous 3 months. And just to say that May has just gone live in the shop, so you can order the May club now if you like what you see. As I said, it's a monthly one. You can either dip in and purchase a particular month if you like the colourways for that month, or the colour inspiration for that month, or you can subscribe if you like, and if you subscribe there's a small discount, I think, and you can sort of change that or cancel that whenever you like. So yeah, I will just reach behind me and show you. So in the club there are two, so apologies in advance because these are all in cellophane, because it still is the easiest way to wrap kits and things like that. There's 2 different colourways each month. You get each of those 2, so whether you buy or choose a sock set, or 2 full skeins of yarn, or 2 mini skeins of yarn, they'll always be the same 2 colours. So this set is showing you the 20-gram mini skeins, and these 2 here bundled together are from January, these 2 are from February, and these 2 are from March. So you can see I've kind of put that quarter, if you like, of those 3 months together in a pack. So those are the 20g skeins on our sparkle base, and in the back there you can see, hopefully, the inspiration photos. So that was like the January colour inspo, that's February, and this row at the bottom was the March colour inspo. And I do that for, obviously do that for the rest of the year. So we're just moving into May, no, just in April, and we're moving into May. So we're into the blues now, and it's sort of like all quite subdued tones, and they will all be subdued, pastel-y and neutrally tones through the year. Just to sort of give you a feel. Yeah, so you can obviously have a check out on our website or on Instagram page if it's something that you want to see a little bit more of. I don't sort of tend to share the colours each month because some people have purchased for a quarter. So for example, they might have got, especially if they live overseas, ordered April to June, and it will all ship together in June. So I don't tend to sort of post spoilers, if you like, of the colourways each month. That's the first 3 months, so January through to March again, on sock sets. So you'll see it's the exact same colours, but just with one of them as a mini skein. And then I did have some spare sets in the full skeins as well. So again, the same colours, but just to show you what it looks like in the 100g skeins. So I have a real mix of people who've gone for the minis, who perhaps, I don't know, maybe making blankets or socks or scrappy projects, or just sort of collecting them through the year, right through to people buying two full skeins each month, who might be making, I don't know, shawls or, you know, that kind of thing. With two 100g skeins, you can actually make a substantial project, and there's lots of kind of 2-skein shawls and cowls and things like that, either crocheted or knit, that you can make. And I have on Ravelry set up some, I'll just put this down, set up some I think they're called bundles under my favourites on Ravelry. You can set up bundles of patterns, and I kind of set some up there to share with people, to show, you know, 2-skein patterns, 3-skein patterns, what to do with mini skeins, all things that as I've come across I've thought, oh, I really like that, and I'll save it for myself. But equally, customers might like to view it, or anyone might like to view it in terms of ideas of what they can make with certain yarns. You know, there's one for like chunkier projects, there's one for crochet fades, for example. So I've got that on Ravelry, and I also have a Pinterest page where I've got similar kind of bundles saved. So I always, when I do like yarn boxes or advents or things like that, I always put pattern suggestions in the box so that you've got some ideas of what you can make with the yarn, and I link through to Pinterest and Ravelry as well. So if you ever, you know, a loss of things to make, then you might want to have a look in there. So yeah, those are the clubs. As I said, we're on to May next. It's been I think I've always done a club since I started dyeing yarn, so it's possibly our 8th year then. And this has been our most popular one so far, so that's really nice. I've really enjoyed it, and it was kind of specifically designed to have those 2 colours a month, so that I suppose in my back of my mind I had advents in mind. I was in 2 minds this year whether to do an advent calendar or not, a yarn advent calendar or not. And I'm going to do a separate video on our yarn. I did decide, spoiler alert, I did decide to do one this year. I had my arm twisted, shall we say. I'm going to do a separate video on that, explaining all about the colours and the inspiration, things like that. So I won't bore you to death now. But I have done an advent this year. But when I set the club up, I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to do an advent, and I kind of liked the idea of having these 2 colours a month. So even if you get like the 2 mini skeins, for example, obviously at the end of the 12-month period, you're going to have 24 mini skeins, which is the same as you get in most yarn advents. So I thought it was a kind of like build an advent as you go kind of thing. So yeah, I have a feeling that some of my customers are kind of using it in that way, or as an advent alternative. And obviously the beauty of that is then you can use a lot of the same advent intended patterns with that. I've kept a set for myself. I've actually kept a set of the 50-gram skeins, and I'm going to definitely make a blanket with it, just because I really like these kind of soft colours in terms of, I just think it would be really nice houseware, homeware kind of thing. Rather than, I don't tend to personally wear a lot of pastels myself, but I really like knitting with them. So yeah, I'm kind of seeing a blanket or even maybe cushion covers or something like that in my future. I just haven't decided on the pattern yet, so definitely open to that. If you have any pattern recommendations or blanket patterns in particular, either crochet or knit, that you really enjoy, then please pop them in the comments below, because I'd really like to know that. I'm always on the lookout for something. I've made 3 habitation throws in the past. I've made an anthology throw, which I really loved. Both of those patterns are by Curious Handmade. Lots of crochet, granny squares and granny stripes and things like that. So yeah, I'm definitely sort of up for recommendations on nice, simple, relaxing blanket patterns. So yeah, hit me up, let me know what you think. So, as I mentioned, we are doing an advent calendar this year, but I'm not going to talk about it here because it's not everybody's cup of tea. It is available in the shop as we speak. The theme is La Vie en Rose. That's as far as I'll say, and then I will do a separate video where I can answer some questions or just describe a little bit more detail about the inspo. So thank you for that. And then the last thing I just wanted to share with you today is some new items that we have in our online shop, and they're so exciting. You've probably seen them in the corner here. These are redesigned project bags. So the company is called Redesigned. It's a Danish company, and they are handmade leather project bags, made and designed especially for knitters and crocheters. So I'll just unzip this one and show you how they open. So many of them, you'll see I've got different sizes. I'm only just going to show you 2 or 3 today. There are lots of different designs that you can see in the shop, and many of them have this kind of similar concept where it has a zip going right the way around in this kind of lovely, I really like chunky hardware, you know, and sort of gold zips on items. And then if you unzip it right the way around, then it folds out like this, so into like a really kind of spacious project bag. So this one, for example, so it has 2 sides, some leftover yarn from my husband's socks. It has a zip pocket in the middle, which I used. I think at the moment it's got like my cable stitch holders, but actually when I was knitting my husband's said socks, I had my DPNs in there, just keep them nice and safe out of the way so I'm not sort of stabbing my fingers. It has loops. One side has loops where you can sort of pop needles, crochet hooks, that kind of thing, and then the other side has sort of elasticated pockets which you can stick tape measures in or your pattern, whatever. You'll see as well, so in the second compartment here I've got a little baby version, and it has exactly the same sort of design concept. I'll just turn it the right way around. So you'll see it's got the zip going right the way around, corner to corner, and it opens out flat again. So I have this as my notions bag because I absolutely love notions and collecting bits and pieces. And I just find that like the kind of classic zipped pouch, if you like, is just not big enough for me. So I really like this because it fits in absolutely everything. So I've got crochet hooks on this side and pens and things like that. I've got stitch holders, needle gauge, all sorts of bits. And then there's again another little zippy pouch in the middle, and I've popped my scissors in there because my scissors are super sharp, and I just think zipping them out of the way like that is really handy. So yeah, a small pouch. This is called Project 36. So all of the redesigned bags have a number as their name, so you can identify them. So this one is number 36. and it's the smallest one that I carry. So as you can see, it's perfect for notions, for pens. I have seen people use it for teeny tiny sock projects and things like that, because they do hold more than you think. However, that's kind of a personal taste, I think. I personally like a roomier bag, especially when there's zips, because I worry about the yarn getting caught in the zip and things like that. So I think this is ideal for a chunky notions pouch, or even a pencil case. So yeah, this colour is called Burnt Tan. So I have all of the designs that I have in the shop, and I can't remember now, maybe there's 5 or 6 different bag designs. All come in the burnt tan colour because it's my personal favourite, and it has the kind of chunky gold hardware again. So that's number 36. This one that I showed you here, you can see is quite roomy, so I would say you could easily get a much larger project. So I'll probably transfer my Vertices Unite shawl into here. You can imagine you can probably put the knitting on this side and then your sort of extra balls or skeins of wool in there. So I'd say it's lovely. Project 9 for shawls, smaller garments, or any kind of accessories or socks. And that's my own personal version there that I've kept for myself. This one is slightly larger, so again, exactly the same concept. I won't unzip this one because it is from the shop. It's still got its labels on. All of the bags come wrapped in plastic, Laura Palmer style, so I'll be wrapping them back up before I send them out to people who've purchased them, but just to show you them today. So this is a size 10. It's exactly the same design as the size 9. The black one I just showed, but it's larger. So this is definitely, you know, your big garment, your cardigans, your big shawls, that kind of thing. You could easily fit, you know, a good number, sort of 6 to 8 skeins of yarn in there, as well as your project. So yeah, love that one. So this colour, not colourway, is walnut. So in the shop we have burnt tan, walnut. We have 1 or 2 of the black ones because they were kind of you know, what was available in stock in those sizes at the time, but my personal favourite is the burnt tan, I think. But I just thought I'd show you them together so that you can see the difference between those two, because I know from photographs it's obviously not particularly easy to tell. So the top one is the burnt tan and the bottom one is walnut. Yeah, aren't they pretty? They're so cute. So as I said, I've got some of those in the shop, and have some more on the way, which should be with us in May. So we're nearly in May now. So yeah, there's 1 or 2 other designs coming. So yeah, watch out for those if they're your bag. No pun intended. Okay, right, I'm going to leave it there for today. I really thank you for joining me again. I was quite nervous at the start of this video, as I'm sure you could tell, but I feel like I've kind of got back into it now. So hopefully I will see you again soon with some progress on my whips and maybe some new cast-ons. So have a lovely, lovely week ahead, everyone. Bye.